Proverbs chapter 1. A father teaches, be wise. Lord, help me learn and obey your requirements, so I will always know what to do. Give me all the wisdom I need so that I will always be fair and impartial. Help me teach those who don't know all they need to know and do. Help me carefully listen and learn and become more understanding, so I will always do the right thing. Help me gain much counsel from the wise, so I can become a smart person and learn to understand things that are difficult. Lord, I know all wisdom is in you. Help me understand your ways and not be rebellious to despise your direction. Help me listen to you as a father and obey you as a mother. May others see your principles guiding my life, and may they glorify your beauty. Lord, help me resist the temptation of sinners and not give in to them. When sinners want me to make illegal money and take advantage of innocent people, may I resist their temptation, because when I destroy the lives of other people, I am really condemning my own life. Even when sinners promise me exorbitant riches and a wealthy home and furnishings, and they promise to share their wealth with me, Lord, I remember you said, stay away from them. Don't be like them or obligate yourself to them, for they really intend to break every law and suck the life out of innocent people. Every plan they make to catch someone snares them into their own addiction. And the happiness they plan to steal from others, they destroy any chance of enjoying it on the altar of their greed. Lord, I see the eyes of honesty, weeping over the crimes she sees in life. Honesty crying for crimes to be punished. And I hear the voice of honesty, crying in the empty courts of justice. How long will evil run rampant? Honesty cries, how long will skeptics be skeptical? How long will rebels hate God's ways? Lord, you call on us to return to you. You promise to pour your Spirit on us. You promise to teach us your ways. Lord, when you call to the rebel, you also stretch out your hand to him. But the rebel not only rejects your ways, he determines to do the exact opposite and completely rejects all you stand for. Therefore, you will turn your back when he is punished. You will say, you've got what you wanted. Then the rebel will be scared to death, and the consequences of his sin rip him apart when he cries out in anguish. He shall cry out for mercy, but not get it. He shall seek you, but you'll not be found. There is no second chance in hell, because the rebel hated your way of life and would not listen and learn from you. He rejected your path for his life and refused to do what you wanted him to do. Therefore, he shall bear the consequences of his sin. He shall suffer the misery he gives others. His vile trespass shall be his own punishment. Lord, because your children turning to you shall be proof that the wicked have not repented. Lord, your prosperity on the righteous should have warned the wicked to change. But Lord, those who listen and learn from your instructions shall be safe in your presence and shall be delivered from evil. Amen. Character sketch. The Fool. In our contemporary society, we seem to put some fools on a pedestal. In my day, I laughed at Lou Costello of the Abbott and Costello team because he did foolish things. In the same way, I laughed at Jerry Lewis of the Lewis and Martin comedy team because he too did foolish things. Then we all laughed at the Three Stooges and the team of Laurel and Hardy. These men were not foolish and stupid. They only pretended to get us to laugh. However, the Bible identifies a fool differently. A fool is a man or a woman who refuses to follow common sense, who refuses to obey the rules, and who refuses to do the things we call wise. The fool has rejected God. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Psalm 14:1. This person is described, they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. Proverbs 1:29. Rather than doing the right thing, the fool would rather do foolish things, or do what makes him happy, or what satisfies the flesh. Because the fool marches to his own drumbeat, he hates rules and laws. The fool wants to do things that transgress the law. Proverbs 10:23, 13:19, 29:27. There is another thing that is foolish about a fool. They trust themselves rather than God's way of doing things. Proverbs 1:7 and 29. As a result, the fool justifies everything in his own eyes. Proverbs 12:15. But in contrast, The wise man will listen to counsel and will do what wise men tell him to do. When a person trusts only himself, he is arrogant. Proverbs 21:24. The fool is a cross between two types of contemporary people. First, the fool is dumb, which is like a person who is ignorant and does not know what to do or how to do things or why things are done right. Most dumb people can learn and become smart, but a fool probably won't learn. There is a second problem. The fool is selfish to the extreme. They want attention, physical comfort, and they want things. They are selfish to the point of being obnoxious, but they are not willing to take the proper steps to get what they desperately want in life. They are blind to their selfish addiction and what keeps them from their life's goal. A fool may be a good person who everyone likes, when in actuality, some only tolerate them or use them. They are fools because they fool themselves. What can we know about a fool? First, we know that a fool does not prize living right, i.e., doing right or good things rightly. A fool follows his own selfish impulse. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. Proverbs 13:19. According to this verse, fools do not take pleasure in profitable accomplishments, i.e., a desire accomplished. That means they do not find fulfillment in the craftsmanship of their own excellence. Second, a fool justifies his sinful and selfish pursuits by finding fun in evil things. To do evil is like sport to a fool. Proverbs 10:23. When the foolish man is caught breaking one of the 10 commandments, he justifies himself. I was just kidding, or I was just fooling around. Third, fools make fun of those who live righteously, and they laugh with those who break the law. When it's pointed out that they are breaking the law, they just laugh to say, it is nothing. The Bible says, fools mock at sin. Proverbs 14:9. Fourth, a fool can hire people to be good for him, or a fool thinks that he can hire a wise man to make good decisions for him, or to do the right thing for him. Why is there in the hand of a fool the purchase price of wisdom, since he has no heart for it? Proverbs 17:16. Fifth, a fool won't listen to good advice. There is a high price for becoming wise. It takes study, determination, and self-discipline. The one who gets through college or attains education has paid a price to learn, but not the fool. Wisdom is too lofty for a fool. Proverbs 24:7. Also, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7. Sixth, a fool is emotionally undisciplined. He has never learned to hold his temper. Because his emotions control him, problems control a fool. A fool's wrath is known at once, but a prudent man covers shame. Proverbs 12:16. A fool will lose his temper. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook a transgression. Proverbs 19:11. And also, a fool cannot control his tongue. He says the right thing at the wrong time, or is always saying the wrong thing all the time. A prudent man conceals knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims foolishness. Proverbs 12:23. Again, notice what Proverbs says. Wise people store up knowledge, but the mouth of the fool is near destruction. Proverbs 10:14. Also, the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly, but the mouth of fools pours forth foolishness. Proverbs 15:2. This is another way of saying they're like a barrel rolling down the hill, always making noise, but there's nothing in the barrel. A fool has no delight in understanding, but in expressing his own heart. Proverbs 18:2. So Proverbs further explains, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Proverbs 18:7. The fool seldom thinks seriously, but they laugh at serious things and make jokes of eternal things. The fool loves his frivolity, but he deceives himself. The folly of fools is deceit. 14:8. The mouth of fools pour forth foolishness. Proverbs 15:2. Fools will not listen to good counsel. Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would have none of my counsel and despise my every rebuke. Proverbs 1, 29 and 30. Those who try to teach fools waste their time. He who corrects a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man harms himself. Proverbs 9:7. That's because fools reject what you say. The opposite is also true. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. Proverbs 9:9. A fool is ungrateful. Gratitude is the best remembered of all virtues, and is a character trait taught by parents to children. A fool will not listen to the instructions of his parents. Proverbs 15:20. And will cause them great grief. Proverbs 10:1. Eventually, the parent of a fool can never be proud of their foolish child. Not only does a fool reject knowledge, a fool will deceive others to get them to believe a lie. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Proverbs 14:8. A fool not only doesn't speak the truth, he will slander those who oppose him. Whoever spreads slander is a fool. Proverbs 10:18. And a fool usually wants to argue. It is honorable for a man to stop striving, since any fool can start a quarrel. Proverbs 20:3. Not only does he start an argument, he threatens physical violence or gets others involved in fights. Because violence covers the mouth of the wicked. Proverbs 10:6. As we describe the fool, we must be careful of Jesus' warning. Whoever says, "You fool," shall be in danger of hell fire. Matthew 5:22. We are not calling anyone a fool, we are only describing what God says of a fool. First, God calls people fools because they choose to ignore God and go their selfish ways. Proverbs 14:1, Isaiah 53:1. Second, we are usually guilty of accusations we make of others. So if we foolishly call someone a fool, we'd be headed for the same direction as the fool. Finally, when we put the label fool on anyone, they might try to fulfill their prediction rather than repenting. Then we are partly responsible for their judgment. James 5:20. Your relationship to a fool. 1. Don't live on the level of a fool. The fool does his own thing and disobeys the law. Don't let the fool drag you down to his level of transgression. The fool speaks without thinking and is given to anger. When we speak without thinking, we act like a fool. And when our anger controls us, we become like them. The Proverbs tell us to never answer a fool, or else we will become like him. Proverbs 26:4. 2. Don't compliment a fool. Fools are self-righteous. They will take any compliment as reinforcement for the stupid things they do, or the things they do the wrong way. Never give a fool any honor. Proverbs 26:1. When you answer a fool, the King James Version says, "Lest he be wise in his own conceit." Hebrew, eyes. Proverbs 26:5. This does not mean the fool will become wise, but rather he will reinforce his own selfish opinion because you have complimented him. Then the fool will continue in his downward path to destruction. So don't compliment them for the foolish things they do. 3. Don't try to correct a fool. A fool will not listen to instruction, nor does he want to do the right thing. He will not listen to rebuke or good advice. As a matter of fact, when you correct a fool, he will rebuke you, and when you criticize a fool, he will insult you. Do not correct a scoffer, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Proverbs 9:8. 4. Let a fool learn from the consequences of his actions. The Bible teaches, "The way of the transgressors is hard." Proverbs 13:15, KJV. A fool who goes his own way will eventually suffer the consequences of foolish actions. This may be judgment of sin, or just the consequences of their stupid acts. But these consequences could be instrumental in helping the fool see the folly of his way. When the Bible says, "In the mouth of a fool is a rod of pride," Proverbs 14:3, it means that when a fool says foolish things, he is punished with the rod of consequences from what he said. There is also seen, "A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for blows." Proverbs 18:6. telling us that a foolish man is punished because he opens his mouth to say stupid things. Again, the scriptures teach, luxury is not fitting for a fool. Proverbs 19:10. Not that a fool shouldn't have good things, nor should they have luxury. But when a fool is given riches, he will squander them. When a fool is given money, he will lose it. When a fool is provided with luxurious living, he is not smart enough to keep it. In today's language, give a fool a penthouse and he'll trash it, or give a fool a new Cadillac and he can't keep it running. 5. Fools cannot be reasoned with, so let them learn from their mistakes. The book of Proverbs states that a fool cannot be reasoned with, nor can he learn from wise counsel. It seems mistakes are the only effective method from which they learn, especially when they suffer painful consequences. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. Proverbs 26:3. This does not mean a fool should be whipped because he is stupid. The picture here is one of who refuses to obey traffic laws and has to pay a fine or go to jail. Isn't it foolish to lose your freedom because you won't obey the law? So a whip can teach a horse how to obey, and a bridle can teach a donkey to follow commands, but only punishment can help a fool. When the scoffer is punished, the simple is made wise. Proverbs 21:11. Do not get the wrong impression about fools. The book of Proverbs is not teaching that they should be punished because they are incapable of learning. No, they suffer consequences because they refuse to learn. And the person who refuses to learn from his mistakes is more foolish than the one who makes mistakes. Proverbs gives us a picture of a fool being ground up because he will not learn. Though you grind a fool into a mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain, yet his foolishness will not depart from him. Proverbs 27:22. The basic lesson of Proverbs is, don't treat the scab, but rather get down to the infection that causes the wound. Don't treat the foolish symptoms of the fool, but rather apply medicine to the cause of the problem. The problem of the fool is that he has chosen to reject God and reject truth. He is stupid because he chooses to do stupid things. The answer of the book of Proverbs is wisdom. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And fools hate knowledge. Turn at my rebuke. Surely I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you. Proverbs 1:22-23. Proverbs indicate a fool can become wise if he will cease trusting in himself and trust in God. A fool could become wise if he would cease following his own way and follow the way of God. 6. You should not fellowship with fools. Proverbs tells us, go from the presence of a foolish man when you do not perceive in him the words of knowledge. Proverbs 14:7. Why is that? Because foolishness is infectious. Those hanging around a foolish person become foolish with them. Why? Because everyone has a selfish nature, and the fool who is addicted to his selfish nature gets those around him to give in to their selfish nature. Therefore, those around the fool become lazy, liars, corrupt, and blinded by their own pathetic rationalization, just like the fool. A fool can hurt you. Proverbs say, let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs, rather than a fool in his folly. Proverbs 17:12. Foolish people never build up those around them. Rather, by sarcasm and cruel accusations, they drag everyone down to their level. Also, when you become a friend of a fool, he will feed off you and sap the life out of you. Like a mother bear that will tear you limb from limb for stealing her cubs, so a fool will leave you maimed and wounded. Also, observe the opposite. While the folly of a fool is infectious, the wisdom of a wise man usually is not. Just hanging around wise people doesn't make you wise. To be wise, you must listen to the right thoughts of the wise person and attempt to do wise things. 7. You should do everything possible to get away from a fool. Because a fool will harm you, don't stay anywhere around them. Cast out the scoffer and contention will leave. Proverbs 22:10. This is in keeping with New Testament teaching that Christians should not fellowship with unsaved people or listen to them and become like them. Paul writes, and what accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? And what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I will dwell in them and walk among them. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. 2 Corinthians 6:15 and 16. So the church was instructed to put away those who were unruly and caused contention within its ranks. Matthew 18:15 through 17. Conclusion. Whether you're a Christian or not, the principles contained in Proverbs will help you live a better life. When you do right, you lay the foundation for becoming righteous before God. Your good works of righteousness will not qualify you to stand before God, but look at it in the opposite light. Those who want to believe right and do right will have a foundation to accept the Bible teaching how to obtain righteousness. To do right, they will accept the righteousness of Jesus Christ, Romans 5:1, and be saved by faith.